Apostle is angle one. All right, there you are. Hi, good evening, good evening, good evening. What we're doing today, we're going to talk today about the ascending soul, and we get the thought from um, Ephesians 4. When Ephesians 4 says to us, let me pull this up on my screen. It says, Ephesians 4 and 9 says, now this he ascended, that what does it mean? But that he also first descended to the lower parts of the earth. He ascended, but he also descended into the lower parts of the earth. And this has to do with the insight of the death and what happens after the death when Jesus goes into the lower part of the earth and his soul is tested on his ascension. Not death didn't do anything, because as far as death had to do, death itself thought it had won, but now that he's leaving death and ascending, the soul and the things that death has stored in the soul begins to speak to his soul. Death is working in each and every one of us, and the things that will cause us to doubt our divine existence and our divine connection with God comes from our soul. I identified it in past teaching as coming from our ego, or the egoic system. So what we need to do is describe to you, for you, that we associated with Christ in his death. We associated with him in his burial and his resurrection as well. So now, in association with Christ, we just don't see him as the one who died for us, but we died with him. And when he rose from the dead, we rose with him. Now, the things that he had to come through in his ascension, in his soul, we came through those things with him. He is the life-giving spirit. He's giving life to our souls, and our souls are no longer in a dualistic death grip anymore. Death does not have a grip onto our souls. We are walking in the life of God because we are acknowledging and embracing the Spirit of God that has always been in us, but we weren't aware of his living Spirit in us. And Christ has awakened that Spirit so that we can be consciously led by our spirits and not by egoic or our soul realm, but we are walking by the Spirit. So there are some things that's identified that you will probably identify with as a temptation to keep you from fully experiencing your fullness in God, your fullness with Christ, your true identity. This false identity, this has caused many of us to lose the zest for loving one another. Love has totally waned and faded out of our hearts because we are feeling victimized. We're feeling as though God is angry and that God would punish his child for not making the mark or for missing the mark. God will just punish you for missing the mark. God doesn't punish his children for missing the mark. God provides teachings, lessons, and salvation for his children so they can find their way out of their darkness into his light. There's no need to punish you. Your own darkness is punishment enough. You do enough to hurt yourself where God does not lift a finger against you. His whole motivation and move in love toward you is to rescue you from yourself and from your miscreations, because you have no idea about how powerful you are in your miscreations. And the soul, your egoic system, do not want you to discover your true divine self. It wants to keep you in bondage, keep you bound up so that you don't know the freedom that has always been yours from birth until eternity. So in reading this and the ascension of his soul, the soul is Christ. So when we mention it's his soul that's speaking to these different distractions and contradictions and barriers that's trying to keep him from ascending into life and causing the resurrection to happen. The first one is the force of craving. The force of craving spoke, I did not witness your descent, but now I see that you are ascending. Stop. Why lie to yourself? You are mine. You know, we have these different kind of cravings, and we have things that we know that we crave. that is no good for us, but we keep craving those things, and those things that we know are no good for us keep on damaging us. And we really can't find any relief from these cravings. Well, the truth of the matter is, the craving is attached to a false you. So there's a false power that it has over you, because the real you is never touched. When you come into your real self, you will see that you've never been bound by these cravings. He's only attached himself to the false you. And so in response to this, the soul responds, says, "It is I who saw you first, yet you never truly saw nor knew me. You took the garments that I wore to be me, but you never recognized my true self." Now what the soul is saying, the garments, my flesh, you took it as me, but you didn't know me. I'm a spirit, I'm not a body. So you never know my spiritual self. You never know me. And because I'm spirit, I saw you first. You didn't see me first, I saw you first. And because you saw it first, you've already declared that it is powerless and helpless against your authority. Having said this, the soul left rejoicing. The soul came under the influence of the third power known as ignorance, which again scrutinized it closely, saying, "Where do you think you're going? You are the slave of wickedness, dominated by it, and lack discrimination." You are a slave to wickedness and dominated by it. So many of us in our walk in life, in our human existence, do things that we consider extremely bad, and really we don't know how we do it, why we're doing it, and how to get away from those things. We really want to be free, and we don't have enough discrimination to know, well, that's good and that's bad, that's right and that's wrong. Before we can discern what these things are, we're already in them. That comes, again, from the egoic system, from your soul, all right? And it tries to enslave you and keep you blind to your real self. But the Spirit of Christ, the soul of Christ, I should say, spoke back. "Why are you judging me, since I have not passed judgment on myself? Indeed, it is true, I have been dominated, but I myself have not sought to enslave anyone or anything. Though they never recognized me, I now perceive that heaven and earth will pass away, and all things composed shall be decomposed." You never knew me. This thing that was composed will decompose, but not me. I am eternal. You are eternal. And because you're eternal, that which can decompose is false and not real. The eternal is real, and because that which is decomposed, all temptations and trials are decomposed with it. And seeing that it is decomposing, I already reckon it dead, since that's what it's doing. Dead, no effect on me. I will continually ascend. Amen? When the soul had overcome the third force, once again, it ascended upwards in counting the fourth, where the seven powers replicated themselves. The first spoke from the form of darkness, the second force of craving, the third ignorance, the fourth craving for death, the fifth enslavement to the physical body, the sixth the false peace of the flesh, the seventh the compulsion of rage. These are the seven powers of wrath and demand of the soul. Where do you originate, manslayer? Where do you think you're going, space conqueror? So now it's trying to kind of flatter the soul because it sees the power of his ascension. But where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going? Have you ever been in a place where you're doing things and things are working out in your life so well, and all of a sudden a sense of uncertainty overwhelms you? That's your soul trying to hide your true power. It's trying to get you to deny that all power is resident inside of you because you are one with God. And since there's nothing lacking in God, there's nothing lacking in you. Seeing that God is holy, so are you. As long as you recognize your oneness and singleness with him. There's not two of you, there's just one of you. You're immersed and married and one with God. And you're one with Him. There's not a duality. There's a seamless joining of you and God. When I say seamless, there's no seam. There's no division between you and God. No one can tell where God ends and you begin, or vice versa. So when you come to that true self of your true self, you recognize all power resides in me because I'm one with God. The only problem is that, do I believe this? Do I continually be wavering in my thinking? Do I continually let these different attacks cause me to lose my conscious awareness of my oneness, singleness, virginity with God? I am one. There's no dualism in me, no opposites in me, just one. No darkness in me, just light. And so when you begin to see that, and that begins to illuminate your soul and your consciousness and your awareness, an awakening happens with you. An awakening that happens with you, your light is shining. Your light is not shining for egotistical reasons. Your light is shining to ignite the light of all others around you. Your light, which comes from God, begins to lighten or enlighten or ignite the light in others. And so all light comes from God. All light is His light. You do that from an awakened soul. Anthropos is a powerful word that Jesus Christ brings to us in His teaching. He wants to join humanity and divinity together as one. He's joining heaven and earth as one. Anthropos. You're going to be fully human. And to be fully human, you have to be fully divine at the same time. Not partially human and partially divine, but fully human and fully divine as He is. Anthropos. These teachings is me being your Iadiah, which means the enlightened one sent to enlighten you, to set that light off inside of you so that you may turn and enlighten others, enlighten your family, enlighten others with this wisdom talk, not just sacrifice talk where you're no good, you're the scum, you need salvation, but wisdom talk that says, no, you're like Him. As He is, so are you. You're a son as He's a son. There's only one Son and you're in Him. Because you're in Him, you're one with God as He is one with God. And we will address these other voices in our next video. I know this is extremely short. It's even less than 15 minutes. But that's okay because this, I need you to play it again. I need you to listen to it one more time and prepare to hear more on our next video as we bring to you next Wednesday night. I need you to prepare your hearts for it. Let others listen to it. It's only 15 minutes or less. And I want you to listen to it, get ready for next Wednesday evening, and we'll be back with you to finish this. But in the meantime, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for being a part of our ministry. I forgot to put my little logo up there. This is The Gathering, and I want to thank you for going to our website, our webpage, and loving on us and supporting us. These are some times when we need those of you who are moved by the Spirit of God, who love us, and God is giving you a little bit extra, giving you extra. I don't want you to sacrifice nothing, but giving you extra, and you're sowing seed toward this ministry. Because you love it, you want this word to continue, you want us to stay healthy so we can bring you a healthy word. Thank you. The members of New Creation Christian Faith Center, I want you to continue tithe and give your offerings. But for those of you that are visiting, consider it. Just think about it. You don't have to do it. I'm not going to tell you what to give. But there on the in the www.nccfc.net, right there is a page, a PayPal page, where you can go and you can leave a love offering or a donation. And if you decide to become members with us, you can also tithe and give offerings as well with the other members. And we will continue doing this. If you happen to get here by accident, you don't know how you found this webpage, this is the address, Will We 3 on YouTube. So if you want to come back, go to Will We 3. You come back and you can visit our live broadcast. Also, if you hit subscribe and then hit that little bell twice, we will inform you when we're going live. We go live on Wednesday evenings at 7 and on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. So on Wednesday and evening, we'll just send you a little email, a little notification that we're going live and the topic, and you can join us, all right, on our live broadcast. Well, this is a premiere, so I recorded this early so that we can look at it together. But some Wednesday evenings that we're live, it's not a premiere, and we can talk and chat and ask and answer questions for you. Also at that www.nccfc.net, if you have a question for the apostle, you can write your questions down and forward it to me. I'll be glad to answer it for you. Well, I want to thank you, and I want to remind you that God has plans for your life, and none of those plans include defeat. I will see you next Wednesday or Saturday morning.